you're back again. It's been so long since we've seen you. Sabrina, how have you been in that short amount of time?
I was scrolling through TikTok.
Well, like,
I have no life.
That's great for you. You know?
How about you, Harley?
You know, you got school, got job stuff, got dishes, because my mom likes throwing the dishes at me and be like, do the dishes, Harley. I'm like, no, I don't want to do the dishes. But we have, since you introduced our last guest, our lovely guest, we have Katsnaps.
Hello.
Hi. Actually, Harley, it's Katsnaps, like cat, like a cat,
like meow.
Hey, yeah. You know, like some people say, short for Catherine Cat. Yeah.
There we go. We've been saying it wrong. It's fine.
Okay, that's all right. It's the acronym for my name, so it's Kellyanne Troop, and then I figured you might as well call it Katsnaps, you know, to give it like a little ring to it.
There you go. And plus, like it's cats. We love cats.
Yeah, it's snazzy.
It works. So my dad's in the chat.
Hi.
You've got some fans already. Like, I think you're more famous than us at this point.
I don't know about that, but
maybe a little bit. So you are our first photographer on the podcast, so thank you for that. We took our time. It took some time thinking of questions. We were like, what are we gonna ask her? So it's like put in some thought and homework into it. So we got a couple questions. So
and you could riff on almost anything wrestling. I'm up to date on AEW now. WWE I haven't watched in forever, but I kind of know the storyline anyways. You know how that goes. It's like a soap opera. You can jump right in after 6 months and it's the same thing. So
exactly.
So yeah.
I feel that. But we're gonna start off with like, how long have you been doing photography?
So photography, I've had a love of photography since I've been a kid. I've always been one of those kids with one of those disposable cameras. I had just a little crappy digital camera in high school, but then about 2016, 17, I decided to invest in a DSLR. And I start taking pictures of like nature and like a photo journal, like blog type thing on Instagram. It was just kind of for my own entertainment and my own like kind of digital scrapbook. Mm-hmm. And I kind of got good at it. I will say that. I think I'm pretty good at the nature stuff, the nature and travel photography stuff. So that's quite a few years down the road. And then wrestling photography about maybe 7-8 months ago now. So I'm fairly new to that.
Well, you do a great job. We've seen all your work, and I love all your work.
Thank you.
But you brought up the disposable cameras, and I remember like I would always like take them to like the place and be like, okay, so when am I gonna get it back? And half of those photos I threw away because they were so bad.
Yeah, they were either blacked out or like noisy or a mess. But you know, that's what we had. And if you can remember, we had like even the specialty black and white cameras. I used to love to find them once in a while.
Oh yeah,
nearly monochrome the whole time. I loved it. Harley, I don't think you know these disposable cameras. So it was like these little plastic cameras you get at a Rite Aid or something, and you would send the whole camera away, and they would get developed.
You had to like take the picture and like scroll through, like do that little scrolling thing until it was next. Yeah, I hated that.
Yeah. Thank God for technology, huh?
I was just gonna say that. Like, who cares? We have like smartphones and cameras now.
Yeah.
Editing apps.
Yeah, it's so nice now. I love that. Like, if I think I need to tweak something, like I just was for my travel when I just was at the Philadelphia Flower Show a couple weeks back, and I'm just getting around to doing some of those editing on those photos, and like I can make the saturation a little bit brighter, make them pop a little bit more, make the neon a little bit more glowy. It's so nice. I can do that. The old school stuff, you couldn't do any of that with.
It's all natural.
What you got is what you got.
Seriously, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So like, what sparked your interest to do photography? Like you said, since it was when you were little.
When I was little, I remember looking at my like mom's picture books from when she was younger and when I was little. So I always enjoyed pictures, to say. And then I guess I just always enjoyed taking pictures of nature and of things I liked. So it was just kind of a natural thing for me. And then when I had when I was working for a long time, like I was like, when I start working and stuff and start getting a pretty disposable income, and then I thought, I'm going to invest in a DSLR. And that's what I done. So, and then I kind of taught, and I'm self-taught, like everything I know, I've taught myself or YouTube videos. That, you know.
There you go.
Yeah,
like
and it,
everything on YouTube now. You know what I mean? Like
everything on YouTube. Yeah, you can learn pretty much almost anything from YouTube now.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
cool. I'm gonna go learn how to do some back surgery real quick. Just be a surgeon. But no, yeah, that's great. I
You know,
wanted to become like a photographer for a while, and I just never have. I like taking pictures of myself when I like taking pictures of like other things. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, the photography thing, it's different when you get that DSLR, man. Like it's tough to when you sit and you learn it. Like you have to learn your shutter speed, you have to learn your ISO and your aperture levels and your different light levels. That's what's so hard about wrestling photography is 9 out of 10 you're in a low light environment, which already makes for a tough picture to grab. And then on top of it, you want to try and get a crisp picture that their hands aren't like their hands shouldn't be in motion. I mean, unless it's your style, then if it's your style, no, that is your style then. But I try and get crisp pictures as much as I can. And it depends on your aperture level, how low you can go with the lens you have. It's almost like mathematical, and
Not yet.
a lot of logical thinking.
Yeah, so my dad's in the chat. He goes and says, "Can you explain what a DS or R is?"
SLR. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
DSLR, I can't remember what it's the acronym is for, but it's basically like it has like this little mirror in it. It's like just a fancy camera, like a fancier camera than what you got, I guess you could say. It's just a dumb. Otherwise it's really scientific.
And he goes and says, "What kind of lenses do you use?"
I have about 6 lenses now. And I use pretty much all of them, but for wrestling photography, I use this new one that's a Canon EOS, and it's a 70 to 140, I think, zoom lens. So that one I bought a couple months ago because I'm trying to get, like I said, the sharpest picture I possibly can. And for that, I need a low aperture to let more light in, and a faster shutter speed to stop the motion. So that lens allows me to do that. That lens goes down to an aperture of 2, I think. So you need something 3.5 and under in really low light situations. Like in Hamburg, there when the lights are out, it's kind of tough. That's one of the harder places I shoot at.
So how did you get into like the wrestling photography?
I started, well, as you know, I was on a podcast. I was on Tornado Tag for a bit, and then I was going to some of the independent shows around, and I was doing mostly like the social media for the page, and I started just bringing my DSLR one day and up to Sanctuary actually, and I shot there once, and I met a few really nice people there. One being Eric Pinhat, one half of the Diamond City War Machines. And he's helped me a lot throughout the journey too on like what I can do to make my pictures better and kind of like help me with the wrestling photography side of it. And then I went back to Sanctuary, shot, and just kind of showed up places. And if they didn't have a photographer, I start taking pictures, and that's kind of how it started.
No, yeah, that's how I was gonna be like. So, was there like a story on how you just started with them?
Yeah,
But there you go.
You kind of got to go and practice. The more practice you put into it, the better your stuff gets. And the better, like I will say, the better you upgrade your equipment to is also
Exactly. The better it is, the better the pictures are gonna be.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, with shooting the wrestling photography, like, did you ever want to like go into wrestling then?
Well, I had that like dream as a little girl, like I always wanted to be just maybe a valet. That's about it. I don't really want to wrestle, but I don't mind being the manager of the valet like that for some reason.
Yeah,
it's seeing I'm the era of Miss Elizabeth too. So as a little girl, I used to see Miss Elizabeth valet Macho Man. And at the time, you didn't know the turbulence behind it. But as a little girl, I used to think, oh, man, she's so pretty. I'd love to do that, And then I grew up in high school with Lita and Trish Stratus. But they wrestled then in the end. But Lita and Trish both managed teams, tag teams. So, yeah. So that's kind of what I want to do. I don't want to really get hurt, but I wouldn't mind doing that. It's just once. But otherwise, I love my photography. I get to give back that way. And it's just two things I really enjoy,
Oh, yeah.
So like you said about like what you just said about getting hit or whatever. So did you ever get hit in wrestling by them doing a move, or was like it close enough?
No, thank God. And I'm pretty, I'll toot my own horn at this. I'm pretty good at kind of knowing when to step back, but I can kind of step back at the last minute too, because when I was in high school, I was a majorette. So I have good peripheral vision that I can see kind of out of the corners of my eyes. Because when you done that, like you had to kind of keep time with the other girls by looking out the corner of your eyes and not turning your whole head. Or when I was throwing the baton up, it would get awfully close to my face and I wouldn't flinch. Like I have a good no flinch reflex, I guess you could say.
Nope, not me. I would be flinching.
No, I learned at a very young age. I don't flinch very much anymore.
Oh my God, Sabrina would be the one to. Sabrina will be like, "Oh my God, hold on!" She'll be taking photography around the ring, and next thing you know, Action Andretti's flying and kicking her in the face.
That'd be my luck.
I mean, I've never gotten hit, so.
Well, that's good.
I know somebody else who got hit with a belt once, and I was like, felt bad, like, you know, and it was just a fluke accident, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now, like, how hard is it to stay out of people's way though, too? Because like when
That's
there's people in the first row, I know that some people are going to be like very picky with like, well, why are they standing in front of me?
yeah, I haven't had that trouble yet, but like I said, I've heard from other people that is that can be troublesome too. Like I've never somebody come up to me and say, you know, you're in my way yet. So I try and hug that corner post as much as possible, because if you're hugging that corner post, nobody's really looking at that corner post. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to look on that. So I try not to go into the middle of the ring. You know what I mean? Like the sides of the ring as much. I try and stay in those corners as much as possible and like back out if I need to. But I try to keep aware of what people are behind me or what kind of the seating situation is behind me too, because I don't want to spoil anybody's time either.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's some. Oh, I'm sorry, Harley. Go
ahead. Go ahead.
It's tough too. I've noticed shooting if you have like a hardcore match or something going on, because you don't know where they're going to go, and then the fans all get up and start moving around too, and it's kind of chaos, you know.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like that's how it just was yesterday at BPW. They had like a hardcore match, I guess you could say. They were like, it was Vinnie Mac and Sean Maluda. They were doing their own thing, and then Phil Insane, they were doing their own thing, and everyone's like, oh my God. And then I'm like, how are they supposed to take pictures when they're running through the crowd? And I was like, where is the photography lady now? Because you never know, like there'll be one over there.
Yeah, you have to kind of anticipate what's going to happen. That's where being a longtime wrestling fan kind of pays off. Because being a longtime wrestling fan, I can almost judge or kind of guess what's going to happen next. You know, when you watch it so long, Harley, I'm sure you know this, and Sabrina, that you kind of can guess what's going to go on in the match next, you know, by the way they're moving and stuff. And some styles and stuff, some people repeat their moves over and over. I mean, I'll even say Kenny Omega. I love Kenny Omega to death, but I can usually guess his matches, but I still love watching them.
Right.
Now, is there like a venue that you've like shot at before that like you're like, this is the best? I like the lighting. I like everything in here.
Yes. There's actually two. The first one, I'm definitely going to say the Fieldhouse, Hamburg Fieldhouse, AXW, because of the history there, that WWF in the 80s used to shoot there. They used to tape there, and that the lights are historical. They are the original lights that Vince McMahon Sr. put up into the building. And plus, it's the hardest place I shoot at, I think, but it's also the most rewarding if I get the right shots and I get those lights in the shot and I can make them almost look like stars in the editing app. I just love when I can do that. You know, like that's setting to me it's almost like a stage, like a big stage. The second place would be the Sanctuary, because it's almost the same vibe. It's also very hard to shoot at. It's dark, but the way it's set up, it has really nice lights and everything going on with it. It's an old church, so.
Yeah, no, I remember the first time you were at AXW and you shot that picture of me and Goldie, and you're like, I was not expecting all this noise in the pictures.
Yeah, I had that. I was like 2 months into my new camera at that time, and I was so not overwhelmed, but I was so blown away by the crowd. Like that was like one of the biggest crowds I've seen, and I thought that was awesome, you know. So I was trying to walk around and take some pictures at the same time, but there at the same time, different light levels in this place, because I was at the ring and I wasn't really looking at my settings at that time. So yeah, I learned my lesson to keep watching settings when you walk around there, because different light levels.
Yeah, You're always learning. You're always learning, how you can like better the photo. So
Yeah.
that's really good.
No matter how long you do this, you're never perfect. You always can learn something new. And I think that's true with everything. Like you can always learn something new no matter what you do. Like you can always say, there's more for me to learn in life than just hanging it up and say I'm the best of the best or I'm as far as I can go.
Yeah. What's going on over there, Harley?
Burp, and I was like, no, but I agree. You never know, like, not just for the wrestling, like you have to take pictures of the fans because the fans are what drives the wrestlers and the wrestling to continue to do it. So
yeah, one of the best advices I got the first time I shot, it was still Outbreak at the time when I shot for it was Outbreak before it was AXW, but Kevin Kelly was there, and at the time nobody was coming in for photography, and I walked over to one of the commissioners there and I said, hey, do you have a photographer? And he's like, yeah, somebody's supposed to be coming in, but Kevin Kelly put me to the side and said, hey, if this guy does come and you still want to shoot the fans. We love seeing pictures of the fans, and the fans love seeing pictures of themselves too. And that's something I've always tried to take with me and try and do anywhere I go. If there's an intermission, I'll walk around and take pictures of the fans and crowd interactions or fan interactions with wrestlers too. Because when you post that, a lot of people really like to see it.
Yeah, like I mean, I personally don't like to see pictures of myself like in in like caught off guard.
Yeah.
But no, it is rewarding. Cause like I know like you took a picture of me and Laszlo, and you got a little bit of like us talking, and I was like, I hated the way I looked, but it was such a good photo. But I just didn't like my face.
I think everybody like that, honestly. Like I'll look at pictures like that of myself, like if Dennis is shooting across the ring and I can see myself with my camera, I think to myself, oh my god, my hair was bad, or now I have bangs, like they'll split like this if I'm shooting because the camera's always up to my face and pushing them to the side. I think to myself, oh, hair's wrong, oh, my face looks terrible, or just something stupid. I think we all are a little self-conscious of ourselves too in pictures too.
Oh yeah, and like there's times like the wrestlers will post like pictures of themselves, and Harley will literally be like that person that will be like zooming in and looking at our photos, and like she'll send us cropped out to me, and I'm like, oh my god, was I really making that face? Like,
right. Like we're always caught off guard. Like the one match, I forgot who it was, but I zoomed in, I did my magic, and all I see is me and Sabrina looking towards the door, and we were like making the most like snotty face, like who are we looking at?
I think it was when Facade did the flip off the wall.
Probably, but
yeah, I've had that as standing by the ring with another photographer, Haley from Haley's Photography, sweet girl. I really love her. Me and her were standing, and somebody caught a picture of us standing together, and same thing. We both looked like we were like looking like what the hell? Like we had the what the hell going on.
The resting bitch face, we like to call it. Yeah, that's what I have sometimes. But like, so just being in this area, like, have you ever witnessed like a bad injury yet, like while doing photography?
No, thankfully not yet. There was a few close calls, but it didn't turn out to be much of anything that. So, yeah, thank goodness for that. And I've shot 1, 2, maybe 4 hardcore matches now. One being a ladies hardcore match.
Oh wow!
And yeah, thank God, nothing yet. So I was happy for that.
Wow, that women's hardcore. I've never seen a women's hardcore match.
This was a show they had it in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, at Hummel's Wharf. The promotion was called PCWA, and it was Valerie Verman versus Autumn Breeze, and they done really well for a women's hardcore match. Like they brought out the cookie sheets and were hitting each other with them, putting each other through tables, getting hit with chairs. There was something else too, but yeah, they put on a hell of a show that night. That was one of the most rowdy crowds I've ever seen in my 7 months or 8 months of taking pictures. Now was that PCWA show. I don't think I'll ever forget that. That was a rough crowd.
We're definitely wearing a lot of new stuff. Like earlier, when we had Playboy Polly on, he was saying that they have bobbleheads. Like we've never heard of wrestlers having like bobbleheads of themselves. That's weird, but like it's cool. It's different.
Yeah, it's good to branch out. I like some of the wrestlers are doing keychains now, like the chibi keychains. I think they call them like the little anime ones. I think kind of cool. You know, because not everybody can do the t-shirt. Like it's
Oh
it's
yeah,
but like for people who wear scrubs every day, like Sabrina and like I used to, like the t-shirts would go to no use, like because we lived in scrubs, you know.
exactly. Yeah. So
I
like you have to
mean,
switch it up.
I still buy them. I just wear them to bed.
Yeah, see, that was about it. Or I'll wear them out, yeah, outside gardening or something. But nobody ever got to see them, so there was no good advertisement for them.
Exactly.
Right.
You know.
Harley, your dad has a question in the chat, I think.
Yes. He says, "Would you ever consider record the matches live?"
Recording the matches, I would, yeah, I would. I would give it a go if someone wanted me to. You know, I don't think it. I don't know how hard it would be transferring from like single still pictures to movement, like camera moving and stuff. But I would give it a shot. Like, you know, I'd give about anything a shot. Honestly, I'm one of those open-minded people. You know, I'll try anything.
You kind of have to, like, I mean, especially like the motion pictures. Like, when my dad was a mascot for an indoor football team, I always saw like the pictures that their photographer would take, and they're like getting these like really cool photos of the guys like running down the field, and I was always like, what? How? What? Like they were running. How did you get such a good shot? But now that you told us, I was like, dang.
Yeah, that's it. That's the trick, man. That's the trick. Like, and it really comes down to your equipment you have and what the capability of your equipment is. Like I said, this new lens now for me, that's a zoom, and it goes to an f2 aperture. Like that is like the aperture on a camera is like almost like your eyelid, or like how small the camera lens or the eye of the camera goes. So that would be like a very high aperture, and a very low aperture would be like this, so it lets more light in. So when you have your shutter speed to stop the motion higher, that could like kind of help balance out your exposure, basically how light or dark, how light like exposed the photo is, basically.
Yeah.
You know, to still get that crisp picture. Now I'm still dealing with some autofocus issues, and I'm messing around with my camera, but it's getting better and better as I go.
What was the most photos that you've taken with a camera at a wrestling show?
Like,
Oh
yeah,
man.
that's what I was gonna say. Like when me and my dad were coming up with this, the exact way I first had it written, I was telling my dad, I was like, so the way I'm gonna ask her is like, have you ever took too many pictures? And you were like, damn, like, did I really take that many?
Yeah, you do. I took, oh man, and some people look at me and say it's a low number, but I took like 3 or 4 thousand the last time at AXW. You know, because I used to do single shot. Now I do the continuous. I kind of figured out a good tweak with that, how to use the continuous at a good time. And that way I can get, if somebody's doing a Hurricane Rana off the top rope, I can get the full range of motion with it, and then pick out a few that tell the story. Like I'll get maybe 10 of it, and I'll pick out like maybe 3 of them that tell the story of the Hurricane Rana. Like, and that's another thing. Like with my style of picture taking, I like to take a lot of facial features too, like the wrestlers' faces when they're in the ring. Like I like to get a lot of the story behind, like that they're trying to tell in the match, basically.
No.
And yeah, and their facials. Like I love their facials. Sometimes they're wild.
No, seriously. Like, especially like with UCW, because you shot at the UCW show. And like me as a Reno, we were freaking nervous. Well, I think it was more me. I was like, oh my God, what if I mess up? And then you're like, it's fine. Just pretend I'm the only one here. So like it made it so much easier. And then like just looking at you, I was like, okay, there's
Yeah.
nobody here. It's just her. And then like you said before, like being a self-critic, some of them I was like, what was I thinking? Why was I making that face?
Yeah.
But then, like a lot of the wrestlers had some pretty interesting faces. Like Ricky Price,
Oh,
I love him. He is such a character. He's always doing something crazy. And then you have people like Buddy Thomas, and he's supposed to be beautiful, but like in those pictures, I don't really think so.
Ricky is a showman, to say the least. Ricky he's got that spark, man, that can entertain you real quick. Like he even makes me laugh behind the camera. There are a few guys that can do that, and Ricky's one of them.
Every time he posts like a promo or something, I'm like, I literally can't with you.
Yeah. He's that's, I think, like, I don't know, I don't wrestle, but as a fan and a person behind the camera, you need to have that certain amount of charisma and talent to make it really work, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So
So
Yeah.
Gavin is actually in the chat. I haven't seen Gavin in a minute, guys.
I haven't either, so I gotta say, I love you, Gavin, and Palmer. Hello. I hope to see you at PPW in a few weeks.
He says, "Hi, Miss Kelly. Do you still enjoy the matches you take pictures of, or is it harder to enjoy because you're working and trying to adjust the settings?"
No, I still enjoy them. I think I always say I have the best seat in the house now since I'm so close to the ring. But no, I still enjoy them. There are some times, like if I'm having trouble with the lighting system or something, I'll get a little stressed. But I usually, when I'm in the moment, I'm still enjoying the moment and the match and what I'm seeing on my display screen. It's when I get home and behind the editing thing, and when I'm like you said there, I'm over criticizing myself or said, this could have been a stop lower, or this could have been a little bit sharper, you know what I mean, or this could have been like blurred out a little bit, and a little hard on myself there. But I'm getting better with that too. Like I gotta. The perfectionism is something I gotta leave go. I gotta let that go in my life.
Yeah, and it's hard, but like while we're talking about editing, how long does it take you to edit your photos?
Oh, depending on how much I have and what I want to put out, probably 2 days. So like 2 days, and I do them in between. I take care of my father now, but so I do it in between taking care of him. So an hour here or there, an hour here or there. So if I had to add it up, probably about 5 hours. I'll sit and look at them and really try and make them the best they can go. And I do them all in Adobe Lightroom. I don't do them in anything else. So, and then sometimes half my battle, it used to be, I just found a faster way to do it, was my camera's a Bluetooth. So I could just hook up the Bluetooth device to my iPad and just download them from that way. But then I had somebody else, another photographer, tell me, oh, just get one of these memory card readers. You could stick it right into the bottom of your iPad and it just all automatically transfers over. And it did. And that cut my time in half the last time.
Wow. Like we said, you're never going to stop learning ever. No.
I love talking to as many photographers as I can. And I love giving any little bit of advice. I had a photographer not but a couple weeks ago ask me the lens I'm using on my camera now, because he went out and got one then, I believe. Because he liked my pictures so much. He was wondering what I was using. So I'm not afraid to trade what I know, with somebody. I know there are some people out there that won't, so they won't get it. This, in life, it's so much nicer to be nice to somebody than it is to be, well, you know what I mean?
I feel that, yeah.
Depends. No, I'm just kidding. It depends on the person.
Yeah, I guess, I try to be nice. If you ask for, I usually try and help you as much as I can. That's all. Like I did for you that day. I knew you were kind of nervous. Just look at me. Look at me. Don't look at the people around. Just look at me. Concentrate on me.
Well, yeah, like those photos were hilarious because her and I looked at them and I was like, what was I doing in this photo? But I think my favorite photo was the one that you got. It's like with Ruta standing on the side and then the commissioner, and Ruta's his vein is popping out in his head. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there, my back's sitting out. That was the best photo ever. But the faces of Ruta that you posted on Instagram, hilarious.
Another one that gives great facial expression. Hard not to take them because he's he shows such emotion, And another ref I like taking pictures of is Jeff the ref, because he has such attitude when he's in that ring. It's beyond. It's awesome. I've seen him in a few different places, UCW, PPW, PW, or was it PCWA or PWA, something there, that hardcore, the one I went to in Selinsgrove. He was there too, and just some of his charisma in the ring as a ref is just great. I think he gives it just that much more extra to it, and just makes the match.
Oh yeah, I definitely looking at the facial expressions when you post pictures now. I'm like, what facial expressions are these people making? Because some of them from UCW, especially the one with Skylar and Aaron Roxas.
Yeah,
Aaron Roxas's face. I'm like, what's happening here, dude?
I'll get you, man. If you're making a funny face, 9 out of 10, I'm gonna get you.
And then that's what she posts. She goes, okay, they look a little weird in this one. Let's
just be alarmed. Be cautious of what your face is doing at these shows. Because
it's in the story too. You gotta, if it's a facial, it's like a I don't know if you have somebody in the sharpshooter and they're reaching out in pain. Like I like to grab that shot too. Like that's kind of what I'm looking for, you know.
Definitely. Yeah.
Or like just the strong emotion, like Ruda there with his vein popping out of his head. He was, he was conveying that pissed off to him. I guess you could say that anger, trying to capture still is my job, my passion,
No, yeah. Definitely Ruda, Ricky Price, Vinny Mac. They all have funny expressions in wrestling. Like yesterday, we were watching. Like Vinny Mac was going against Sean Maluda, and like I was just watching, and like his facial expressions are like the funniest thing ever. I'm like, it's not that big of a deal, but like, yeah, just be a drama queen. It's fine.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That is. It's
Exactly.
it's a soap opera and it's sport all in one, if you want to say it.
Quite literally.
Best soap opera I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Harley's dad has a question saying, what is the weirdest thing you've witnessed while at ringside or backstage?
Oh, the weirdest thing. Right now, the thing that comes to my mind, and I've been talking about it for like a couple, like since it's happened. There was a hardcore match. I was one of the photographers at a promotion called Valor Pro Wrestling, and this was down in where was this? I can't even remember now. It's not Lebanon. I don't know, York, I think somewhere, and there was the main event was a hardcore match between Mr. Ping and Rob Noxious, and two things. They grabbed both of their managers, put them on steel chairs in the middle of the ring, and got wooden skewers and poked them in their head with these like about 5 or 6 wooden skewers. They looked like unicorns after they were done. They were sticking out of their head. And they had fireworks taped to the back of steel chairs. So when they hit each other with them, the fireworks would go off like little, the snap poppers,
Yeah.
On the ground, like those things. And it was like smoky. I just loved it. I thought that was awesome. There's a little bit of hardcore in me. Like I still of that generation of that Attitude Era when I remember watching Mick Foley and stuff. Like there's still a little bit of that in me. Like some of the really hardcore stuff, like some of the stuff that happened over the weekend, I'm like, oh no, but like that's just. But I don't think we want to address that on the air. But that was too much. But there is still a little bit. Like I still like to see a steel chair come out once in a while, or somebody go through a table. It's me.
No, yeah, definitely.
Table full of mouse traps.
Yeah, table full of mouse traps. I've seen that too. That came out in front of me once. I was like, oh, cool.
We just saw that yesterday. We saw like a table with open cans on them, like cut, like sliced open, like in half. And it was like the weirdest match, but it was the best match too. Like it was like, oh, this is I don't like it, but I kind of can't look away either.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So my dad has another question that wants to show. Is there any venue that you haven't worked for that you would love to work for?
Well, of course, if I'm reaching for the stars, I'd really love to at least do like an AEW Dark or something, but that's reaching for the stars. Around here, a CZW would be cool. Like you were just at a CZW show, that would be cool because I remember watching that once upon a time too when Mox was in it. I really do the one and that's AXW. I really love shooting for AXW. Everybody's a family there, and like I get to do a lot of charity work and help a lot of different charity foundations out, and I love doing that. I've loved giving back. As when I was a high schooler, I used to do a lot of charity work too, and I just started that again with AXW. They kind of let me run with it, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah, I love that. Like. Yeah. Charity work, I love it. And like it suits your personality. Meanwhile, there's some others that are not going to be named that states they don't do charity, but charity, it's good. It's for a good cause and it suits your personality because you just want to help everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I just like doing it. of a different way. I'm trying to think of some different ways. So if you girls come up with any different ways, like if you think of something different I could do, maybe to do for charity work, let me know, because I'm always open to something different, something new.
Yeah. You said about CZW, which is funny because I was just about to bring up like how different some venues are, like especially with that. Like CZW is very like intimate. There's like not a lot of room for a lot of guests. Like there's literally like maybe
Yeah.
3 bleachers on each side, and then there's like only 3 rows of chairs, and it's like
Yeah.
very like so intimate that like if you say something at a nice tempo,
Mhm.
they'll hear you in
Yeah.
the ring. And I'm like, oh shoot, I thought I was being quiet.
Yeah.
No, crap, they heard me. But yeah, no, it's so like have you seen like the difference in venues since going to all these venues?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. And the difference in ring sizes, like you have like a normal size ring, like I would say like AXW has, and then you have those little they call them pony rings or low boys that are really tiny, like they're like a maybe 2 foot off the ground. That they're challenging to shoot in, I will say that, and they hurt when you're a little older. Your knees hurt when you do stuff like that. But yeah, that's a little more challenging because of the ring height and stuff. So yeah, there is definitely there's definitely differences. And then like I think me and you were both at I shot that RCW show back
Mm-hmm.
in December, and you were there, and that's when me and you kind of first really start talking, Sabrina. And that was a little venue too, so it was hard to walk around and hard to be like, I didn't want to be in front of everybody's faces.
And
Well,
that ring too?
that's a low boy or a pony. That's what I'm talking about. They're tough to shoot. They are. So
Oh man.
yeah.
Um Harley's dad said, well, like the wrestlers send in their wait, can you say that to Harley? Because I'm having issues reading right now.
Well, like the wrestlers send in there to take the show their product. Maybe if you send a
Oh,
flash drive of your work, maybe they'll.
like a portfolio thing. I
Yeah.
don't have anything right now. I've been told by a few people I should make one up, and I probably should get on that. I haven't had an art portfolio since high school. I had one, but I don't know how to do it in this digital day and age. So I have to kind of look up how to do it. Right now, the only thing I really have is my Instagram and Facebook pages that you can go and see my albums on, and take a look at them that way and see my progression from when I started to right now, and it'll only get better. I know that.
Yeah, every time I see a picture reposted on one of the wrestlers' Instagram, I always see like your little watermark on it. And I'm like, oh, she was there too.
Yeah, yeah. I learned to put the watermark on and I actually got burnt, not in the wrestling industry this way, but in the travel industry this way. I had taken a picture in Cape May, at Sunset Beach in Cape May, and that's like the southernmost point of New Jersey. And it had a really like pretty like sunlight picture with a seagull along the Sunset Beach, where it's all the Cape May diamonds, so you could see like all the stone quartz that washes up on that beach, and it was all kind of shiny. And I put it on my regular Instagram, and wouldn't you know, they published it and didn't give me a credit for it.
Oh my god.
Never again. So I technically was published a few times, but never got credit for stuff. So it ended up in one of their Cape May magazines. I was like, hello, like a little shout out would have been nice, something.
Yeah, like a little like photo cred,
Yeah, just a little photo credit. Nope. Nope. And I knew it was my picture because it was spot on. It was the same thing that was on my Instagram.
Because I know that when we put our poster up, like of all the photos that we have at AXW, we were like, I would have sent you the ones without the watermark. It's fine.
That would have been fine. For you guys and stuff like that, that's fine. No big deal. Because you guys do give me some shout outs and stuff on your page. So that's it. That don't matter. I would have given you without it. And that goes for the wrestlers too. If they ever wanted something without the watermark or in a different dimension, because everything I post is always the requirements for social media, because social media compresses everything. So I have to put it in a different like capacity. In other words, to post it to social media to make it look presentable. Like I can't give it a high quality and then post it on Instagram, because they'll only dumb it down anyways, and it'll kind of look blurry or a little off.
I didn't even know that about Instagram, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah. So if you have, and everything's changing now again from what I read. They used to love like a 1x1 crop. Now they're going to go to a 9x16 or something, I heard. I'm like, oh, great. Like now I'm going to have to change up my whole routine of how I edit things but yeah. So if any of the wrestlers or anybody wanted something different, like wanted a different resolution or wants something without the watermark, all they need to do is message me and ask.
Of course. We have Dennis. I don't know how I'm gonna butcher this last name. He's saying
Dennis.
good evening, ladies.
Love Dennis. Dennis is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in the photography and the wrestling photography business.
So, fun fact, I actually met Dennis again when I was 14 years old. I've known him since I was a baby.
Ah, that's
It's
cool.
crazy because I just saw him when we did the PPW event. I saw him and he came up to me and he's like, "Do you remember me?" And I was like, "I do now." Like it took me a minute, but I do.
He is so nice. He is one of the guys, like when I first started shooting, I kind of was shooting just the fans around, and then he like told me, come over here. He's like, you can go, you can go in the corner there. That's fine. It's only me and you. I would love if you had shot with me. And I shot with him, and I consider him like an advisor to me. Like I really look up to Dennis and a lot of the shots and a lot of the things I'll ask him advice for too, and he does give it. And he's just an all around good guy. All around good guy. I always love seeing him at shows and being a part of his crew when I'm working. I always look for him and like I always like kind of view him as the leader. If he's
It's crazy how small the wrestling world is, though. Like, because like if you go to a show, like I went to the RCW show and I saw you, and like we've actually had that chance to actually just talk because like we never actually did. We just saw each other at shows and we're like, this is awesome. So
I'm always trying to cut out of my shell a little bit too, because normally I'm a shyer person. Like I won't kind of talk, like, but with the wrestling stuff, I've been trying to like kind of break out of that. And like I remember seeing you and I saw you at a PPW show or two, and I thought I'm gonna go over and try and talk to her and see if she's nice. And if not, I'll just walk away. Like, what can I try?
The fact that she's like to see if she's nice, little does she know.
Yeah.
No, and like
Only
you can't.
sometimes,
I think it was because you're like, oh, do you want a picture with the dude or so? It was one of the wrestlers, and I was like, yeah. And then we just started talking, and I was like, oh wow, like because again, I thought you were so quiet, so like reserved, so like, and I'm very out there, so I was like, I don't know if I.
I'm usually quiet, but like I said, I'm trying to come out of my shell a little bit. Like if you see me at a show, you can always come up and talk as long as I'm not taking pictures by the ring. Don't do that. I mean, but during an intermission and you want to say something to me, I'm nice. Like I'm not gonna bite anybody's head off. I'm just usually not the one to approach somebody else first.
Yeah. Dennis said that he loves your work, and he always uses his watermark in the middle of a picture now, just because people share the pictures without giving credit. So
Yeah, I know, and that's a shame. Like that's the one thing in the industry, like wrestler promotion, whoever you are, if you have a photographer there putting their time in, try and give them the credit. You know what I mean? But it's like there was that Cape May incident there. I said to you that kind of hurt when I was first starting out in the travel vlog type stuff, or the travel, I don't know what you want to call it, picture blog, whatever. When I was doing it, I didn't get the credit. I was like, dude, that was a nice picture, but you could have at least gave me a little credit. So yeah, I'll always tag my watermark until somebody asks me, hey, can you take this off for me?
yeah. Harley's dad is managing in the comments. He said, would you ever be able to take a great picture of Harley and Sabrina for their podcast and get credit for it?
I mean, she kind of did already.
She did at UCW.
Pictures of views to wherever you are. Like you just come up to me, or sometimes I just like the last time at AXW, I would have loved to gotten both of yous in front of that ring, and I'd love to get yous both in front of the ring when they get their AXW logo on it. And I take pictures of any time if you just came up to me and asked, or like I just don't like going over and saying, hey girls, come with me. You know what I mean? Like boss, the bossy older sister. I'm not gonna do that. You're always free to come up and ask me, both of yous, because yous are good to me and yous are super nice girls, so I don't mind doing that.
I know at AXW the first time you came up to me, you're like, do you want a picture with Goldie? I was like,
yeah,
I guess so.
Oh my, like the heartthrob of this AXW now. Oh my, he like took over a storm with the women. Like they love him. He's like a Backstreet Boy. I was like, oh boy, our poor Harley. Yeah,
No.
No,
she's not a fan of
not
Goldie.
for me.
No, I was never either a boy band girl. I was always I was Metallica and new metal back in the day, but that was way before your time, Harley. That's what the girls act like now with him, is like, oh man, he's like a Backstreet Boy walking in there, and girls flock.
We've asked him to be on. I'm going to say this out loud. We've asked him to be on our podcast, and he's like, well, I'm a busy guy. It's funny because like his friend, Mr. Brian Wonder
More.
Boy, was like, he was on our podcast. He was like, I did it, dude. And Goldie was like, oh, dude, I didn't even know you did it. Like, I was like, dude, like, come on.
Such a great friend.
Well, he has that little show now on Apple TV. Like he's part of that Monster Factory show on Apple Television now that they started doing. They started following a few wrestlers in training around from the Monster Factory, I guess. I don't know. I haven't watched it. I don't have Apple Plus. I plan on watching it when it's in its entirety and I can just binge it in a day and then get rid of Apple TV after I'm done because who can pay for all these subscriptions anymore? You know what I mean?
No, there's too many. Like, I think a lot of the people are going on Fight TV now. Like, and that's why I love Rosh's shows, like in Smash, because he puts them all on YouTube and you can watch it throughout the. Yeah, like you don't have to freaking pay for a subscription. Like, it's so nice.
His shows look like a lot of fun. When we went back to, is there a promotion that I'd like to shoot for that I haven't yet? Another one, this one looks like a lot of fun too. That Three Legacies Wrestling in Lancaster, it looks like a hell of a lot of fun too. And they
with Fandango and
yeah. I've shot Fandango before too. I've shot Fandango in Binghamton, New York, back last October. There was a WrestleCon up there ran by Joe Davis. He ran a nice con up there, which was really nice. And I got to shoot not only him, but I got to shoot Brian Pillman Jr., which was like a thrill for me because I loved his father when I was little. I also liked him, like the crazy, out of control dude, you know.
Oh yeah, and like, oh, I'm sorry. How was it shooting Fandango?
He was different. Like he definitely has that appeal to him, man. Like he's got that charisma. He's photogenic too. I will say that. Like,
because as we were going back to Ricky Price's things, I was like, is he photogenic?
Yes, no, he's very photogenic. There are some, like I always say, there are certain people my camera love, and if you give me the time, if like Ricky's one of them, like Ricky will look right in my camera and act silly or want like that silly picture, that facial picture. If you give me the time, I'll give you the product. You know what I mean? If you give me that little bit, I'll take it and run with it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So Ricky's one of them. There's a few others that do it too.
No, yeah, definitely.
You know?
So Dennis goes and says, that is a great show to shoot for. Just reach out to Ricardo Rodriguez and he will take care of you.
Oh, Dennis.
Look at him like hooking you up already. Like
Of Dennis. I immediately when I met him, I knew he was a good guy. Like he gave me the good guy vibes. Like he wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, you know how some people can be in the business. But Dennis was one of the good ones right off the bat. I knew it. I was like, oh, this guy's good, you know. And then like I can talk to him about photos and photography, and he helps me every step of the way. And I'm so thankful for that. Another one, Haley Sanchez from Haley's photography too. I love her. She's like my little sister. I'll say that. Like I would like to think of her as like my little sister. I don't have any siblings, so I love seeing her at shows too.
Oh. What happened?
I don't know. Just cut out. I'm on my cell phone, so
Oh my God.
That was like me. Our first episode today. Like I kept like my internet kept going out, and I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
And I just unplugged it and like I done that hard reset where you unplug it and plug it back. Because I'm not with the internet and like the computer stuff. I'm not really up on it, but that's just unplugged it and plugged it back in to try and reset it all.
This podcast is an adventure.
Harley, we do this with wrestlers, but I'm gonna kind of turn it to a photography standpoint. Who could you see Miss Cat over here shoot? Like, who do you think would be a really good like photogenic person?
I don't know. My boy Rembrandt, he has them faces.
Yeah, he does. He's good. I love taking pictures of Facade too when I get the chance. Like when Facade and Laszlo, both of them are very photogenic. Laszlo for his height. I still like taking pictures of Andy too. Andy has great facials when he wrestles. He's got a lot of high energy. The tough thing with Andy, I say it every time, Andy's so fast. He's always on the dot, always moving. So my shutter speed has to go up at least 2 notches or something with Andy because he's always moving. Like he doesn't give you that few minutes like Ricky will sit there. Like he'll like he'll stop, look at you, give you something, and then move on. Where Andy just runs. You know.
Yeah, I was gonna say action. or like Cole Carter. I know I say, but like if you look at the, because I was just looking at their Instagrams, like if you look at them, like there are their action shots, and I'm like, I think that that'd be a really good time for you.
Yeah, action, and unfortunately, I don't know how much more we're gonna see action in person around us since he's kind of made it, and I'm happy for him. Like I was super happy to see him that night, and the more he wrestled Jericho that night, I even said to my dad, I'm like, he's signed. Something's going on here. He's going and going and going. This isn't a squash match. He's going. He's signed. He's gonna make something of himself here, and he did. Good for him, man. I'm super happy to see somebody that I watched in PPW grow and move on. That's awesome.
Yeah, we just said that too the other time at the podcast. Like, we love to watch people from like beginning, and so when I first started coming to PPW in April, like from day one of me coming, I was like, I need to follow this guy.
We started kind of going the same time because April, the Super Show was my very first show when it was Lance Archer versus, I think it was Alpha, and like they had the little hardcore match where they won around the ring and stuff. And who else was there? Jay Lethal was there. That's when Gavin was dressed up as Undertaker. That's the first time I met Gavin. He was so sweet. I just love seeing Gavin going to shows dressed up as the Undertaker. Big Boss Man's probably my favorite when he does that.
I like the Dr. Frank one when Dr. Frank got initiated. Yeah.
Facade, when he done Facade, I thought that was so sweet too. I love a lot of his costumes and stuff. I look at that kid and I think, man, that kid's he's living the life. And thanks to his dad, thanks to Palmer, his dad there, because he takes good care of him. He's a great dad. So I love to see those two at shows.
And he has so much respect. Like that little boy has so much respect at his age. And I'm just like,
he's very mature for his age, and I think that's great. He's also a very good baseball player. His dad was showing me some of his baseball videos, and I also love baseball. Baseball was something my grandfather loved, and I loved when I was a little kid. So I kind of know a little bit about it. But man, he's very good at baseball and batting practice and everything too. He was really smacking them out of the park there. I was like, oh boy, this kid's really good at that. He's good at like running around here like a little wrestler too. He's already got that promo skill down. I mean, he can do the spilt liquor promo from Ric Flair like that. Like,
yeah. When I met him, I knew that I was like, this is my boy right here. Like, I gotta make sure no one messes with him.
Yeah.
Like I'm addicted. Like this little kid's adorable.
He's adorable. He is sweet.
He has to teach some of these wrestlers some manners. Goldie, like that guy named Goldie, he's something else. Gavin teach him some manners.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, like it's just crazy because like I didn't know that you started around the same time as I did. I know that Harley's been going for so long.
Yeah, like, Harley's been going for a long time. You were going since it was in Hazleton, right?
Which is something my dad just pointed out, actually. He says Harley's been going to PPW about 10 years since Hazleton.
Yes, and
wow, we're babies compared to Harley with this thing, you know?
We're babies like that, but then we're like her older sisters in reality,
Pretty much,
So
it's crazy because like I never thought of myself getting back into wrestling, but when I went in April, I was like, let's try it. Let's try it back, and now it's like I made so many like good like friendships and like with not just with Harley but with like wrestlers, and me and Harley got very close to a lot of the wrestlers, and like so they definitely watch out for us when we go to shows, and that's like the one thing that I love about these shows is like these wrestlers will literally be like, is someone pissing you off? Because like I'll go tell them that, like, and that's what we love.
Yeah, you
like a family.
Gain friendships and respect for a lot of people when you go to these shows, and then you kind of see some that aren't the best, but it is what it is. I think that's life in general. You're going to have people that are loving and caring and want to be friends or want to do the best for other people as much as they can. And then you're going to have people that are, for themselves or just there and, just have that disposition of being miserable or whatever. It's just part of life, unfortunately. But most of the people I met have been great, and like I've been going since April, since when I was on that podcast, and I grew from there, and I'm happy I kind of got into this indie, like our local indie scene and stuff. Because like I said, I was into it for a long time, but I was like almost like a closeted fan because I didn't know anybody else who liked it besides my dad. Like my dad and me would be the ones that would talk about it. My dad was the one who got me hooked on it when I was little. I mean, I honestly can't date Like, I can't put a date of this is when I started being a fan. Like, I can remember listening to Mean Gene's voice and being that like a security blanket when I was little because it was always on at my house. You know, my dad loved the Mega Powers, and as I grew up, Bret Hart was big in my family. My mom loved Roddy Piper. You know, like, so it was like a part of my life since I've been a little kid, and it's been in and out. But I'm happy. I'm like I started getting really back in when AEW came around, and I'm happy I became a little part of this local indie scene around here. I really
Yeah,
I
it's a
love,
crazy one.
yeah, crazy one, but I love it. I love seeing the people, and there's a lot of really great wrestling families out there, like Haley's family, the Sanchez family there, Rob Noxious, his sons, very good at wrestling, very wonderful people, lovely people to talk to. And it's just awesome to meet some of these people out there. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely like, and especially with us being a podcast, it's kind of like we ran into recently of people that just want to tear us apart and kind of like don't want to see the best in this podcast. And it's kind of like we have to remind ourselves that like these people are going to come and go, but like if we remain strong and keep doing this podcast, they can't really tear us down. I mean, these people know who they are because they do it all
Don't
the time.
oh,
But
terrible. I can't. That's terrible. Like I'm not that person. Like, you go do you. Like, instead of tearing somebody else down, just go do you. Keep your eyes on your own paper type, you know. I just listened to something before I came on the air here. I'm a big YouTube fan, like, so I'm always on YouTube watching and different stuff. And my other love is like the metaphysical community, the occult. Like, I do a lot of study on that, and I practice. I'm practicing. I'm Reiki master. I'm also a crystal practitioner. So I love learning everything about all different kind of religions. And I was listening to the head of the Shaolin Temple in Germany, which is a Chinese religion or Chinese temple that's based all over the world. But what did the master say? Something like, and it applies to you with this. The more light you shine, the bigger shadow you're going to cast. So in other words, the more light and more popular you get, or the more light you're spreading with the world, or light that you're giving to other people, the more you're going to make other people angry. Like, you're going to have those haters. It's just going to go hand in hand. What the thing is going to be letting them go. Like, yeah, whatever. And I know it's hard to shake off. It's been hard for me to shake off a lot too, because I've had it also. But it's just a matter of going whoop and being done, because there's not much you can do about it. There isn't. Let them talk. Like I said, let them talk. Let them keep their eyes on their own paper.
Exactly. And that's like, and if you feed into it, that's what they're looking for. Like, they're looking for that response. And when they get that response in their mind, they're like, look, I'm going to win.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're better off just shaking it off. Be like, it's whatever.
T-Swizzle. What is it? They still call her T-Swizzle or the Taylor Swift Shake It Off, whatever.
I still say T-Swizzle, like, but like that's because like that's something that my generation came up with.
My nephew's around the same age as you, Sabrina, and that's what he would call her. He's in love with her. He'd call her T-Swizzle. I'm like, okay, like, I'm old, I guess, whatever.
Yeah, like I mean, it's gotten to the point where like now I'm like, so Harley, like this was being said, and like I know it's not true, but like I just want to let you know that this is what was being said. Like that's it's crazy, and it's like because we're just doing something that we love, so it's like, why do you care? Like, why do you care?
Yeah, just
Right.
you gotta shake them off. You know, shake them. You can do the T-Swizzle, or I love Florence and the Machine too. That's she has a song called like, what was it, shake the devil off your shoulder or something like that. In the lyric is that's what it's called, and that's kind of what I think about when I come across this problem myself. So that's what you just got to do. It's unfortunate. I hate to see that happen to you too, because you are both lovely people. I love seeing you at shows. So I love interacting with both of you. I think he's done a great job at UCW as the little host. Like, I don't want to say little host, but as the host, as the UCW girls, or what are you called there? Exactly. You're technically like a host almost.
Kind of. I don't know. We don't really like put the label on it. Like we're just like, oh, we're there. We're there to have fun.
Like girls, I guess I'll call you. He's done a great job. You just did. So I'm happy that promotion comes back around again, so I can go back up and take some pictures of you, and you can work your magic up there too.
Oh yeah, like I think we became definitely more confident with that afterwards, because we're like, we can do this again. But like leading up to it, literally her and I were like, she was always rehearsing her lines, and like I I grew up in acting, so like I was like, all I have to do is look at my lines, I'll be fine. And she was like worried for me. Like she was like, are you gonna remember your lines? I was like, yeah. Like it's so it was crazy. We were like a little nervous. The day of she didn't eat. I had to be like, let's go. Come on, Harley, you gotta eat.
Yeah.
But
that was a crazy weekend for me too, because I wasn't originally scheduled for that one, but a friend of mine, Bree, and also Bree Sports Photography, I'll shout her out too. She's amazing, great person, very kind. She couldn't make it that day and suggested me to go in and do it to the promoter there, and I got a message the night before, and I was there the day of. Like, I'll go in and pitch it. That's fine with me, or pinch it. Yeah.
Because I remember you and I were talking about it. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
are you coming to UCW? You're like, no. And then also I saw you, I was like, oh, okay.
And I think and I was at PWE, shooting at PWE the night before, and I was looking over. I'm like, no Sabrina yet. And I'm like, I checked my Instagram, and then so I got the message. Oh, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. But
yeah,
it's hard when you're shooting too to talk to anybody, because I'm focused in, I'm dialed in when I'm at a show and I'm shooting or I'm taking pictures. I'm dialed in. I'm not like I'm kind to the fans, and I'll talk to you and stuff, but I'm also there to do my job. I'm there to work. Like, I'm there to take pictures. I try and give it all my all and give it my focus, or what do they say? Grind it out, or whatever you want to say. I don't know. Like, I'm there not just for a good time, but to do a good job too.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we got lots of chats right now. My dad goes and says, I think myself and Kat is around the same age range of WWE days.
Yeah, so I'm in my mid 30s. So I'm 36. I'll say it. I don't care. 36 now.
Own it. Like that.
36. I think I look good for my age, I think. So I'm 36. Age is just like my uncle says. My one uncle always tells me, age is just a number. It's all about how you feel here and in here,
Technically, we're like all 10 years apart then.
Yeah.
Because Harley's 16. I'm 27 now, and then you're 36. So yeah, about like 10 years apart.
Yeah. So
this is a nice lineup, guys.
That's 37. So
1 year older, but he's still same age group.
Exactly.
Yep.
I'm just the baby, but it's fine.
That's okay.
I'm just a baby.
We were all, and you were all young ones, so you have fun baby years. I'll say that, in your teenage years and in your 20s and stuff too.
And like take as many opportunities as you can at that age, because I wish, like, looking back now, I'm like, oh man, I should have took these opportunities and I didn't.
Way hard, or Sabrina, I'm the same way. I'll look back and think, man, I should have done that. Man, I should have took that chance. Regrets a check that you look at and it's like, oh man, I wish I would have done that. That hurts now that I didn't do it. Like, if I would have tried it, I would have known at least,
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you, I was so proud of you when I seen that you're going to be having a full ride to that to a college, and I don't want to say the college out because I don't know how everything, but I was so happy to see that. I thought that was great. I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you.
I wasn't that smart. Sorry.
No, I wasn't either. I had the chance, and I'm like, at least I was adult enough to think, I'm probably going to piss this away with partying, and it's not a good time for me right now. I'm not mature enough to go,
Oh, yeah.
So,
but we definitely, Dennis is saying the reason people will hate is because they feel threatened by anyone that wants to do wrestling podcasts. They're also threatened by ladies that do this. Keep doing what you both are doing. And honestly, like, thank you. Because honestly, the people that are probably talking hate are probably like wanting to be in our shoes and are kind of mad they didn't think about this sooner. That's
the truth. It's the God's honest truth. Honestly, anybody who hates like that is 3 steps behind you, and they're jealous. I don't know who you're talking about. I honestly have no clue. I try and stay out of the whole drama situation. It's just not for me. I don't want to get caught up in it, but I will give you that piece of advice. That's from my experience. If they're hating like that, they're 3 steps behind and they're jealous of you. Just keep moving on. Keep looking forward.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But so usually we end the shows off with, where can they find you? So to like shows, social media.
Social media.
Social media, I wrote everything down so I don't forget. My Instagram is what's kind of growing, I think, good. I'm like I know people will laugh at me, but I have like 300 followers and that makes me happy. Like I hope I get a little bit more. Like that'd be great if I can get more even. It seems to be growing every day. I get like a new follower or two. So my Instagram is at Katsnaps, at KAT snaps SNAPS _ sports. Regular Katsnaps will be like my travel vlog or not vlog, my travel like picture blog. So that will be Katsnaps will be my other pictures, my other photography blog there too. But and Facebook Katsnap Sports again with the KAT snaps SNAPS. Upcoming shows I'll be at this Friday I will be at RCW taking pictures. So I'm excited for that one too because there's going to be a lot of good people there. I think Ricky Price is just announced he's going to be going. Andy's going to be there.
John West I saw was going.
He's the champion there right now, and John Hawthorne's going to be there. Hawthorne will be there. The thespian, he's going to be there. I seen he's new to the game. Damon James also going to be there. Also a kid to watch, I think. Very good in the ring. Can tell a story, has a great character. The Dude will also be there too. So these are a lot of guys that kind of come from High Ground too. It seems like those students from High Ground are going down there and have like being a part of that show as well. So RCW this Friday. I'll be at PPW, but I won't be taking pictures. I'll be simply a fan. If I do take pictures, they're just kind of practice for me. I don't post them out of respect for Frank. What else? Seven Mountains Wrestling is the next one I'll be at also. That's 7th. That's 4/8. I'm sorry, April 8th. I'll be there also. And AXW at the end of the month at 4/29, or April 29th, I should say. I'm looking forward to that Robbie Rumble. I think is going to be really neat and different from anything anybody else is doing too. So I would like fans to come out for that. $5 tickets. You can't beat a $5 ticket now.
You really can't.
You really can't. In this day and age, a $5 ticket. Come on, that is like the king of everything. And those bleacher seats aren't bad seats. Like they're great seats, and you still get to walk around and meet all the wrestlers. Great seats.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's my upcoming shows.
There you go. Sabrina.
What's up?
The
outro. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on to our podcast and just making the time to come on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And tune in tomorrow where we have no. Friday. Listen. Woo-hoo. Tune in Friday for Bryce and how do you say that name?
Uranagi. I'm gonna say his real name. Like on the podcast, I have a feeling I'm gonna say his real name, but we're not gonna do that.
I have a problem with that too. Like I always think, should I say your shoot? No, should I call you by your shoot name or your character name? Like
exactly.
I don't know what I should be saying. Your real name or your character name. So some of them are great. Their real name is their character name, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, we will see you guys on Friday.
Yeah.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Bye.